Well, hi, this is Sandy, and you're here for the end of my completest journey to film every embassy in and around Washington, D.C. I started this journey 2 years ago, and I've filmed embassies, chanceries, residences, all kinds of other facilities associated with the foreign missions in and around Washington, D.C. So I'm here at the very last embassy on my list. This is the Embassy of the Central African Republic. I'll put a little asterisk on this completest list. During the 2 years, a few embassies have moved, several have been renovated, a few have even closed. And so I think this project will never end because I will go back and film the ones that have been renovated. I began this journey because I'm very interested in architecture, especially historic preservation. So why embassies? During the Gilded Age, in and around Washington, D.C., the wealthy became wealthier, and many of them demonstrated that wealth by building grand mansions. And you see it in that show, The Gilded Age. In and around Washington, the business owners started to flock into the city, and Massachusetts Avenue became Millionaire's Row, with these big, huge, sprawling mansions popping up. Not too long after, the Depression hit. 1929, many of those millionaires lost much of their fortunes, and they couldn't afford to keep up these huge, huge, beautiful buildings. Many of them no longer exist, not just here in Washington, D.C., but in many cities across the country. But here in Washington, we were lucky that a few foreign missions popped in. They came in and took over those buildings. Other organizations took over some of the other buildings, but many, many of them are lost today, unfortunately. Now, I get a lot of comments on my channel from people who think that we're paying money to foreign governments to keep up these buildings, and that's just not true. When the foreign governments move into these facilities, they pay for them and they pay for the upkeep. So it's really a blessing that we've had the ability to preserve so many historic masterpieces in and around Washington, D.C. Hello. Oh my gosh, these are my first live viewers I've ever had on any live stream ever. I've never done a live stream ever, so welcome. Check out my channel. I post videos about history and particularly historic preservation. So today what you're seeing is my very last embassy in Washington, D.C. This is the Embassy of the Central African Republic. It's located here in the very vibrant neighborhood of Adams Morgan in Northwest Washington, D.C. It's a small embassy compared to others. It was the last on my list because it's outside of the main kind of downtown area of Washington, D.C. Now, this isn't the last video that I'll do. I have probably 30 or 40 still to post from my travels here in the United States, in Washington, D.C., and a recent trip in London where I found, and we are in Washington, D.C., so excuse the siren. Oh, that's loud. That's an ambulance, not a police car. But we are in Washington. Nope, that was an ambulance. Not the Rozzers, as they say in the UK. But anyway, I have several more shorts to post demonstrating or illustrating some architectural styles from around Washington, D.C. and London. So those are to come. But today it's a rainy, cold, wet, miserable day in Washington, D.C. But I am here to celebrate my very last embassy video, but you'll see more posted. I need to get back to a few of my other big projects. I have a huge project to document the Civil War adventures of one of my ancestors. And I have about 200 hours of video to edit and post to my main channel. And then on my other channel, where I actually post instruction in historic research and genealogy, oh gosh, I have a long list of videos to post there. So here we are. Wow, oh my gosh. I had like 40 viewers at one point. So I really appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, DC does have some really bad traffic. One of the things about Washington, DC, if you visit for the first time, the traffic signals are on the side of the intersection, not overhead. So when I first started, when I was younger, driving through Washington, DC, I probably went through quite a few red lights because you don't generally look to the side, you look above and there's no traffic signals. So I probably went through a few intersections, but I have since learned to make sure I don't do that. Washington is wonderful. It's a fantastic, absolutely fantastic city for walking. It's a great city. If you get outside of the business district, there is plenty of parking, believe it or not. And for the buildings that I like to film, the embassies and some of the historic structures, the neighborhoods around DuPont Circle, Calorama, Rock Creek Parkway, Rock Creek Park, I should say, are all really, really great areas. You just have to watch out for traffic and not get hit, because I am filming sort of in the middle of the road right now. And boy, is the rain really coming down now. So I just wanted to make a really quick little live video. Thanks to everyone who dropped by and said hey. Adarsh, Rohan, Moash, Sohana, Gojo, Chang, wow, Zaref, it's really great. Thank you so much. Please give a like. Please check out my channel. Please check out a few other videos. That would be really great. Thank you all so much. I have some other completist adventures to do. I have begun to complete the entire London Underground. I've completed the Jubilee line, Northern line, Central line, and one more. Oh heck. Jubilee, Northern, Central, Piccadilly, and the Piccadilly line. I've completed those. So I need to make some videos for each of the lines. I've nearly completed the Silver line here in Washington, DC. Unfortunately, I chose the Silver line not realizing it has the most stops of any line. And it is quite a task to get that done. I'm almost halfway through the C&O Canal and documenting each of the mile markers on the C&O Canal. So yeah, I'm into quite a few completist adventures, and then also my historic research, unfortunately. Hey Highlander, oh my gosh, I know I'm doing a live stream. I'm insane. Highlander, this is my final embassy. I just finished my completest journey to film all of the embassies. This is the Central African Republic here in Adams Morgan in Northwest Washington, DC. It's pouring down rain. It's really cold, but oh my gosh, you know, I've gone live and I've finished this. Now I still have probably 30 more shorts to post, but I have finished filming all of them. I have a few more from London as well. So now I've started that journey as well. So I have all these little completist journeys to post. And why do I do this? I mean, I don't think, you know, it's not because I think anybody cares what I'm doing. I'm not one of those YouTubers. I admire people who can do that. I do this because as I was doing my own research, I was finding channels that had information that I absolutely needed to complete my research. And that was pretty cool. And so I wanted to make sure that my research, if it could possibly help anyone else, I wanted to make sure it was out there. I do have some articles and other things that I've published, but I wanted to make sure that much of my research, as much as possible, is out there for anybody to find. So yeah, so here we are. We're on Ontario Road in Adams Morgan, Northwest Washington, D.C. And this is the Embassy of the Central African Republic. It's the last embassy on my list here for the Washington, D.C. area. As I mentioned when I started this video though, during my 2-year journey doing this, several embassies have been renovated. A few of them have moved or closed. And so the actual project will never end. There's already one I want to go back to because there's been a renovation. My next long form video on a specific embassy is going to focus on the Embassy of Indonesia, because I was fortunate enough to be able to go into the Embassy of Indonesia and get the inside scoop and get some video of the amazing interiors, and it is absolutely fabulous. So at this point, my fingers are frozen, and I'm sure you're tired of looking at this little cute building here, probably built in the early 1900s. I'll have to look up this style. As you can see on this block, there's a mix of styles here. Just your typical city block in Washington, D.C. A mix of different styles. Across the street, you can see some late 19th century architecture that was added onto. You can see a nice rooftop terrace. Modern, obviously, over the older architecture. And yeah. It is Highlander, and that's what I absolutely love. I love the variation. Even this building, you know, across the road here, this is an apartment building here, probably late 1800s. This is probably a Gilded Age building here. And mixed in here in this neighborhood, this is Adams Morgan. This is the Bomb. This is culturally diverse, fantastic restaurants, clubs. This is where, you know, when I was in college, you wanted to come and hang out. I went to the University of Maryland, not too far from here. But, you know, a really cool neighborhood. This is a nice residential area. There are very few areas in Washington, D.C., probably similar to London, where normal working class people can actually live, right? But this is an area where they can afford to live. Some of the homes will have a marker that indicates that it's preserved, marked for historic preservation. There may even be some historic easements here on some of these properties. And so the homeowners have to keep up certain standards to maintain the architectural standards of those buildings. And then you'll see, whoops, fire truck. I always try to wave to fire trucks, but I can't do that. I'm holding the camera with 2 hands because I'm freezing. But even here, I mean, I just love painted brick mixed with natural exposed brick is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, a really nice neighborhood here. Yeah, American University, that area too. That's a really nice residential area up near, some folks call it Tenley Town. It's been shortened to Tenley Town, but it's actually called Tenali Town, named for a tavern owned by John Tenali. And during the Civil War, Fort Pennsylvania, later named Fort Reno, is in that area, and it was one of the outposts protecting our nation's capital during the Civil War. This is north of there. This is off of Connecticut Avenue. Again, in the Adams Morgan area. Just a really great area. All right, I'm gonna sign off now. My fingers are freezing. I wanna thank everyone who dropped by to my very first live stream and the end of my embassy journey. Thanks to everyone. I hope you have a great day. And please join us on Stasis Geek's channel later today for our review of Sicario. Really nice change to, well, every film that the Wheel of Film brings us is a new adventure. And so today it's going to be Sicario, a little bit later on Stasis Geeks channel. Take care, everyone. Have a fantastic day and a Happy New Year.